Welcome back to another video from PM Problems, the site dedicated to project management, construction management, and workplace topics. If you love that stuff too, be sure to check out our website at solvepmproblems.com for tons of free articles, downloads, and more. Now, let's get into today's topic. When we're buying groceries, the process is fairly straightforward. We're told what we owe, we get out our wallets, and we cough up the money. And then we move on. In the construction industry, the billing process is a bit more complicated. Projects in full swing have workers on site from several different trades, materials getting delivered, equipment in use, and other costs like that. Clients pay their contractors via progress payments as the project continues, often on a monthly basis. The amount paid is supposed to represent the amount of work done since the last time they paid a bill. So what determines how much any particular task of work is worth in comparison to the entire project? That's where the schedule of values comes into play. A schedule of values, or SOV, is a breakdown of all billable work tasks that a contractor will perform on a construction project. Said another way, a schedule of values is a breakdown of all billable work tasks that make up a contractor's scope of work. Corresponding to each of these tasks is a subsequent dollar value, representing what that task of work is worth. The sum of all line items in a schedule of values equals the total value of a contractor's contract. The exact breakdown of what an SOV should include will vary from contractor to contractor, client to client, and project to project. That said, the ultimate purpose of a schedule of values is the same. A contractor typically discusses how their SOV should be broken down with their client in the most early stages of a project. This may occur during contract negotiations, but it can also take place during the bidding process. Many clients provide contractors with a bid form that outlines exactly how the contractor should break out their price from the very start. In any case, the final schedule of values that the client and contractor agree to become part of the project's written contract. Once the project actually starts, how is the SOV used? As we already know, a schedule of values breaks down exactly what a contractor's contract is worth. Although it's drafted at the start of a project, this breakdown will be used continuously until the project is complete. The schedule of values breakdown becomes the backbone of a contractor's billing process, often monthly, when they submit a requisition for payment to their clients. Using the example SOV from earlier, let's go through how it's used in a contractor's requisition form. Note that for this example, we will assume no change orders have been issued to the contractor. Along the top of a requisition breakdown, we can usually find some basic information about the project and that specific bill. This includes the project name, who the requisition is issued to, the party reviewing and approving it, the applicant, the company submitting the bill, the applicant's address, the requisition number, which is based on the number of bills the contractor has already submitted, and the final date and the time period for which this requisition covers. As you can see on the left, the schedule of values we discussed earlier is what a contractor's entire requisition is based on. The values of each item are listed in column A. Using these items as reference, a contractor will bill their client for how much work they've done in this billing period or since they last submitted a requisition. As we noted already, this particular requisition is requisition number 3 in this project for this contractor. This will come into play next. Column B represents the total value that the contractor has already billed the client. As you can see, this column is broken down by item, and we can see how much the client has paid the contractor for each item of work. Column C represents the amount of money the contractor is billing the client during this period. This column breaks down the value of work that's been completed on the job site, as well as any other necessary costs for the project like engineering. As for completed work on the job site, this column includes values of the labor to perform the work, materials used or installed, equipment needed to perform the work, plus the contractor's overhead and profit. Looking closer at material values, it's important to note that values in column C represent only materials that have been installed already. As for materials that have been bought by the contractor but are sitting in storage, we look at column D. The values in column D represent materials that the contractor has purchased for the project but has not yet installed. Instead, these materials are in storage, ready to be used when the time comes. The term storage can refer to the contractor's own facilities or the value of materials stored by the contractor's vendors and subcontractors. This section is separate from the amount being billed this period, as these materials haven't actually been installed. Therefore, the client is not yet paying for them. As materials are installed on site, their value will be subtracted from the stored material column and shifted over to column C, and the value of what's been installed will be added to the requisition. Column E is titled Completed and Stored to Date, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Column E represents the total value of the work that's been completed on the project so far, including what's being billed in this requisition, plus the total value of the material in storage. In simpler terms, column E is the sum of columns B, C, and D. Column F breaks down how far along each item on the project is on a percentage basis. This percentage is calculated by dividing the values in column E into the values in column A. As you can tell, the percentage complete varies from item to item. Tasks that took place at the beginning of the project, such as mobilization, are completely finished and therefore at 100%, while the last items to be finished on site are not yet to 30%. In an ideal world, the amounts being billed each month should represent the exact percentage that each item is complete, but it's more like a fairly close approximation. The values in column G are calculated by subtracting what's been completed and stored to date, column E, from the total value of each item, column A. These values represent what the contractor has left to bill the client beyond this requisition period. Lastly, we move to column H. In construction, the majority of clients will hold back, or retain, an agreed upon portion of money from what they owe the contractor. This is called retainage. A client holds on to this retainage as a means to incentivize the contractor to finish the project. Contractors will receive their retention payments as they get closer to finishing the project. The amount of retainage a client will hold is a fixed percentage of what the contractor bills the client in each period, often 5 or 10%. As we said before, contractors will be paid this retainage upon completion of the project. And that wraps up our discussion about the schedule of values and requisition in construction. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it informative. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe to stay in touch. You can also head over to our website at solvepmproblems.com for tons of free articles, free downloads, and more. Just click the link in the description. Until next time, this is PM Problems.